Rix asks a question. Sometimes in the near future, I'm going to play a campaign with my dad, neighbor, and his dad. Can I get some pro tips on how to start and things to keep track of? Should say that this is our first campaign together. Excellent. Pro tips on how to start and things to keep track of. So I'll give you just the generic kind of answer at first, which is talk to your players. I'm probably likely to have that printed on some merch at some point because I say it so goddamn often. Talk to your players. It is the most important thing. I spend a lot of time on session zeros. I've got a session zero checklist on my Patreon, I think for free, maybe. It might also be free on my merch store if you want to check that out. While you're over there, you can grab a couple of free PDFs that I have. One of which I think is the session zero checklist that I do. It basically just runs through like the sorts of questions that I ask when I'm doing a session zero. What sort of combat do you like? What sort of danger level of the combat do you like? How much combat do you like? How much are you excited for roleplay, exploration, side games, mini games, quests, like puzzles and riddles and those sorts of things? How much do you like this content, that content? In terms of plot hooks, are you interested in kill and destroy and assassination quests? Are you interested in heists and fetch quests and like go and collect that thing from that guy? Are you interested in escort this person or object over to that place and sort of escort missions? Are you interested in like mysteries and uncovering mysteries? Are you interested in political diplomacy dramas between like lords or whatever? Are you interested in protect this town from the marauding bad guys that are coming in 2 days' time? I ask those sorts of things during my session zero so that we can all be on the same page as to what sort of a campaign we're going to be running. Um, I also ask like what I use a session zero to make characters together. I always prefer making characters together, because then you can fill in for each other's niches. You can bounce off each other. You can be like, I was kind of tossing up between a bard or a rogue, and oh, you're playing a rogue, cool. I think I'll go bard. All that stuff. And once you've got your characters, I ask players, what are the reward motivations for this character? Is this particular character that you've made motivated by the promise of information? Uh, are they good Samaritans that'll do things just for virtue as its own reward? Are they motivated by money or the promise of magic items? Are they motivated by revenge or are they motivated by XYZ? I've got a whole document for it. So that is genuinely the best advice I can give to you if you are starting out together, and just be like, and if you are starting out and none of you have played before, there's a very real chance that you don't really know the answer to that, and so you just talk about it at this session zero, and you say, I'm interested in running this sort of a game. I have an idea for like a an elemental planes campaign where we're all on the elemental plane of earth and then we make our way to the elemental plane of fire and then blah blah blah, and like does that sound interesting? What sort of characters would you like to play and all this? Just being on the same page is going to be your biggest thing, and then that will take care of pretty much everything else. Do your best to learn the rules as much as you can, and then as soon as you start playing, just let them go. If you can look up a rule, because rules questions will come up all the time. Can I do this and then also do that? What is a bonus action? Can I do this? Can I do that? Those questions will come up, and if it's something you feel like you can look up and get an answer within a minute, maybe 2 minutes, then do so, because it is better to actually stick to the rules for the sake of, especially in your early games. Like you should be trying to stick to the rules somewhat so that you can understand them and you can understand the game balance, and even rules you don't necessarily know or understand or agree with. Try and stick to them at first. You've got to know a rule before you can bend the rule. If you understand the purpose of why the rule's there, then you can sort of bend it a little bit easier. If you start breaking rules that you just don't understand, then yeah, maybe it's going to be fun for a while, but it'll leave your games feeling a little less balanced, a little less like things actually matter. So try and know the rules as much as you can. If there is a rule that you feel like you can look up uh, within a minute or two, then do so. But if you feel like it's going to take a little bit longer to understand the nuances of, I know where that rule is, but you're asking about how it interacts with this other rule, and I don't know how to make a decision on that. Then at that point, just call it. Just say, all right, in this moment, I'm just going to say yes, you're allowed to do that, but make a note for yourself and say I'll take a break in a minute and we'll look that up properly, or after the game I'll look that up or whatever. Know the rules like an expert so you can break them like a pro. I love that saying. That's a good way of putting it. Know the rules like an expert so you can break them like a pro. I'm a big proponent of like know the rules so that you can break them. Same with like syntax and grammar and stuff. I'm like very pedantic about grammar and syntax and the word and the meaning of certain words and stuff, but I can speak colloquially because I know the rules and I know that I'm actively choosing to ignore or break the rules in those moments.
Huge thank you to my Monarch tier patrons you can see on screen right now. But also, thank you so much to all of the other lower tier patrons too. People who are subscribing anywhere from a couple of dollars all the way up to $30 a month. I really appreciate it, and it's a huge part of why I can do what I do for a living and keep focusing on making work. So if you like my stuff, consider supporting me on Patreon.